Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I know. I said it was going to be every other day while we're moving, but this will be a really short video, but there's just some stuff that I wanted to put up. First of all, I love this picture. This is a wall of art in Northern Ireland. Thank you to Darren Grimes on Twitter for this picture. And thank you to Westminster Abbey for this picture of Queen Elizabeth. They pointed out that she succeeded to the throne in 1952. She was crowned in the Abbey the following year, and she has become the longest reigning monarch in British history. Amazing. All right, we have a lot to cover today. Short but sweet. Let's just get in there, shall we? Let's go. All right, you guys, more information is coming out about the King's coronation, more plans, the procession route, what jewels are going to be used, how it's going to go. So here we go. First of all, in breaking with tradition, they're only going to use the 260-year-old state coach one way, and that's on their return from the coronation. The Queen herself said that it was the worst ride of her life when she rode it. Apparently, it's not very comfortable. They are going to make the 1.3-mile journey from the palace, known as the King's procession, in the Diamond Jubilee State Coach, which has shock absorbers, heating, and air conditioning. And that coach was made specifically for the Queen for her Platinum Jubilee. They will be escorted by the Sovereign's escort of the Household Cavalry down the Mall, and they're taking a much shorter route than what the Queen did. Her outward procession was 1.6 miles long, but her return procession was 5 miles long. And it took 2 hours to complete. So Charles and Camilla are definitely doing things differently. Now, just a little bit of information. The Golden Coach was commissioned in 1760 and was first used by King George in 1762 and has been used by every coronation since the coronation of 1831. Wow. So now let's look at some of the stuff they're going to be using. First, you have St. Edward's crown. It was made in 1661 and is considered the most important and sacred of all the crowns, and it is the one that will be used at the moment of the coronation. Next up, you have the Imperial State Crown that was made in 1937 for the coronation of King George VI. And this is the crown that Charles will be wearing when he leaves Westminster Abbey after the coronation. Here you have Queen Mary's crown. This is the crown that's going to be used for Camilla. And they're going to do some minor changes to it to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth, as items from her personal jewelry collection are apparently going to be added. Now you have the coronation spoon, which is one of the oldest objects in the crown jewels. It was used for anointing the sovereign with holy oil, and it was first recorded in 1349. I can't even imagine. Next up, you have something called the ampulla, which was made in 1661, and this holds the oil that will be used to anoint King Charles, which they're saying that the anointing is the most sacred and solemn part of the ceremony and takes place before the investiture and crowning. Next up, you have the sovereign's orb, and this represents their powers and responsibilities, which occurs during the investiture. Next up, you have the sovereign's scepter with cross, and this supposedly represents their temporal power and is associated with good governance. Very nice. Now, keeping up with the times, King Charles has released a new emoji to mark his coronation. It is a purple crown. I absolutely love it and will be using it anytime you do the hashtag coronation, that sort of thing. This is what will pop up. Talk about modernizing. Moving on. Next up, I'm just including this because I find it interesting. Exiled former Spanish King Juan Carlos is going to be flying to London from his Middle East bolt hole where he's been exiled to have a private lunch with King Charles. He's at the center of a corruption investigation. There's an ongoing, long-running legal battle with a former private person, and he's expected to make his second visit to Spain since his shock departure in August of 2020. Now, he did join his son, who is the Spain's current king, King Philippe VI, and other members of the royal family at Queen Elizabeth's funeral last year. But the Spanish government said that it was private, that they were there only as royal representatives there in an official capacity. Nobody's really talking yet as to why he's coming in, but they're saying that the exact day is not being revealed, but it's supposed to come before the coronation. All right, moving on. The reports are coming out now that Harry and Meghan's relationship with Charles has sunk to an all-time low right before the coronation. Is anybody, surprised by this? I mean, it's ridiculous. They're saying that the royal biographer Robert Jobson, the one who just put out the book, he's claiming that because of the Oprah Winfrey interview, Prince William took measures in order to protect his family against Harry and Meghan, and it took their relationship to the absolute bottom. Now, one of the other problems is that Harry and Meghan have yet to RSVP if they're going to show up, and they're trying to drag this will she, won't she stuff out, because for them, even bad publicity is better than no publicity. We know already from previous news reports that came out that Charles is not going to give them what they want. The king isn't going to grovel to them. While he loves Harry very much, he realizes that Harry is out of control. Harry has attacked his family in the Spare. Harry has attacked his wife in the Spare. And so the family came together and decided that they were never going to meet with Harry alone. And let's be honest, if Harry and Meghan do show up to the coronation, they're not going to be on the balcony. They're not going to be in the carriages. They're going to be totally sidelined. That doesn't go well for Meghan. They were warned, this is not a place for Netflix cameras. You're not allowed to tape. You're not allowed to do any of this stuff. And of course, that doesn't go well for them. I mean, their behavior was so bad that apparently stripping them of their titles was discussed at the highest level. But of course, Charles loves his son. He didn't want to axe the royal titles. And Harry is just out of control. And Charles feels like somehow he'll wake up and come back into the fold. I think as soon as he realizes that's not going to happen. Yeah. So, of course, I love Kinsey Schofield. She had something to say about all of that. Listen to this.
It's quite nice. What do we make of this new book, then, Kinsey? It's Robert Jobson, the great Robert Jobson, who's written this book, who says senior officials have at least had conversations about stripping the Sussexes of their titles.
Right, and Charles not in favor due to his enduring love. What a beautiful description, his enduring love for his son. Robert Jobson even goes as far as to saying Harry and Meghan could find themselves demoted to just Mr. and Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor of Montecito, California. Ouch. I do think that this is a conversation that we'll continue to see.
Imagine how well that would go, that they would be Mr. and Mrs. Windsor Mountbatten with no title. Meghan would die. All right, moving on. I just want you to know that Neil Sean apparently has posted a video where he's saying that Harry doesn't believe the polls that people dislike them. He claims the UK media are making it up. You guys, I'm not kidding. This man needs some serious help. All right, moving on. All right, this next story that came out said that Harry was screaming at his father and using foul language when he's trying to get money from Charles. So here's what it comes down to. When he walked away from the family, he walked away from his dad. His dad is the one that took care of everything. Think about it. When Harry was working for the royal family, he never had bills. He was given a couple of million a year. There was no rent. There was no power. He didn't have to pay for security. He didn't have to pay for cars. He didn't have to pay for travel. Everything was paid for. And then he was given millions on top of that. But then he went and he married Meghan, who has expensive taste. Suddenly, he has to pay a mortgage. He has to pay power. He has to pay security. So he's calling his dad over and over and over again. And his dad realizes that the only reason that Harry was calling him was he was treating him like a bank. That's why Charles stopped taking his phone calls. Harry and Meghan run through enough money that if somebody handed me $1 million, I could retire on that for the rest of my life. But Harry can't. He and Meghan can't. Unbelievable. All right, let's move on. So, does anybody think that they're going to be able to reconcile? I'm going to agree with this article and say no. Harry has leaked, he's talking about the royal family leaking and planting and releasing private conversations. All the while, the two of them are leaking and planting and releasing private conversations. Now, the question is his confession tour run its course? Are they going to spill anything else? Are they going to continue to slam the royal family? Are they going to continue to say horrible things? I'm still to this day absolutely shocked over the fact that they've been out longer than they were in as a married couple. And still the whining continues. Once again, Kinsey Schofield had something to say about this. Listen to this.
Because on the horizon, we have Meghan's potential book. Meghan has a book deal. They've said she could leak additional information about her time within the royal family. She hinted at a diary that she kept in that Cut magazine interview. Here in Los Angeles, we're seeing that season 2 of her Spotify podcast is kicking off. She's privately doing interviews with people around town for season 2 of Archetypes. What revelations are going to come out in these things? If Harry and Meghan continue to attack the royal family, I think that there is no doubt that we will continue to hear of conversations about stripping them of their titles.
So do I think they're done slamming the family? No. They've been out longer than they were in, and that's all they have to complain about. That's their brand. It's so old. Now, of course, in the middle of all of this, it's coming out that Harry is falling apart. He's worn down. He's tired. He's exhausted. He realizes that he's out of the family. He's realized that his attempts to hurt the family have backfired. And any further attempts to hurt the family are going to continue to backfire. Yeah. All right, let's finish up now. All right, I needed to put this up, you guys. This person above is a sugar. Look at this wonderful quote that he put up. You read that and you think, wow, what a great person. But then you see this. He put up some of the most unflattering and embarrassing pictures of the Princess of Wales that he could find. Does this seem like a godly person to you? I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about with the Sussex Squad. Yeah, nuts. And finally, I want to end with this post from Harry's gray suit on Twitter. They showed this picture of Harry and Meghan at the walkabout right after the Queen died, when they refused to go see her, when they were invited to see her right before she passed. And they were like, no, thank you. We've got other things to do. Take a look at that. I see two people who are just loving the attention just a little bit too much. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I see. I want to give also a quick thank you to my subscriber from Gibraltar. I'm not going to give her name because she didn't give me permission to do so, who sent me commemorative stamps all the way from Gibraltar of the Queen. Now, my mom, before she passed away, kept an extensive stamp collection, which I have the book of, and I'm going to be adding these stamps to her book, and they'll get passed down to the next member of the family. How wonderful. And thank you so much. What a lovely gift. All right, you guys, I'm continuing to get comments from people saying that they've been unsubscribed. I'll tell you again, I have no control over that. I can only tell you that every time you should check and make sure that you're still subscribed every time you come to watch one of my videos, okay? Don't forget to leave those comments below. Don't forget to go into the description box and you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon. There's a physical address there in case you want to send something to me. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.